If you want to see me take this basic label from this all the way to this, then you're going to want to keep on watching. Canva has so many great labels that are available on their website, but sometimes they need to be leveled up a little bit more to make them look a little bit more high-end, not so cheap. I'm going to share with you how to make this label from start to finish so you can use this for your own brand. Hi, my name is Nicole and welcome to my channel. On my channel, I share with you how to develop fragrances and develop formulas and to really build your skincare brand. If that's something that you're interested in, then definitely hit the subscribe button. Also, like and comment, share so that YouTube knows that you enjoy this content and they can push it out to more people like you looking for content like this. Now, to start off with, we are going to head to Canva. Now, I will be using the pro version of Canva, but you can also do this on the free version as well. If you want to use the pro version, I'll have a 30-day free trial linked down below so you can be able to take advantage of that. Now, when you go into Canva, you're just going to type in skincare labels into their templates section. And this is going to share with you so many different labels that they have that are already made that you can use and you can change up. But when it comes to these labels, they are great, but there are different ways that we can, level up the label and make them just look a lot better. So I'm going to use this label right here. I think this is a really nice label. It has really great colors. It's vibrant and it can just be really great to use for skincare products. Now, with this is going to be a pro label, but you can do this with any label that you see that Canva has. Now, I'm going to resize this because usually when I'm selling my products, I find that 6x2 is going to be the best sizing for like an 8-ounce jar, 6-ounce jar. So 6x2 seems to always work out really great as far as the label size, but make sure you always measure just to be sure. So I'm going to resize it so that it will work for my jar that I have. And I'm just going to move over this brighter pink part to the left just so that the sizing of this all makes sense and so that everything is still well proportioned. And then we're going to move on to this side a little bit later. So just going to move everything over. You're going to highlight it. You're going to click on the outside of the box and drag down, and it allows for you to be able to move everything all together in a group. And we're just going to leave those off to the side. Now, when it comes to Canva, one feature that I really love is that you'll be able to keep all of your brand colors that you originally want to use. Now, one feature I really love in Canva is that you can go to your color palettes under brand. You'll be able to change the colors to the brand colors that you want to show up on your labels or anything that you're making on Canva. You'll be able to keep the same brand colors that you want. Or if you want a particular set of colors for particular products, then you can save them in Canva so that every time you're making them, you know what the exact colors are, and so you don't have to worry about that changing. And you can just easily change the colors if you want to, but you can, you can add more colors, you can delete the colors, so you can just take those colors away if you want to. You don't have to stick with them, but you can be able to see what colors you want for your brand and have those stick on Canva so you don't have to always go back and remember them. They're already saved. Now, every time that I'm making my labels, I like to keep the original one. So I'm using this basic one that I see on Canva, and I'm going to duplicate it so that I can start to make changes. And each time I make a change, I'm just going to duplicate the page so I can look back and see the progression that I've made, see if I really like the way that things look from the original. You can always go back, and it just makes it a lot easier to start to develop your overall label. So I'm just going to take out these pieces of images of strawberries. I really don't want those in there, and I took out the image of the girl as well because I just didn't think that really made sense. I'm going to group over this section that's going to be for the sizing, and I move that over to the left, and I'm going to move down these other text boxes, and I'm just going to focus on the brand name for right now. Now, this is going to be the brand name, and I just want to change the font for this because I don't like the super bold. Like, it just looks really cheesy to me. Makes it look a little bit cheap as well, like that big bold lettering. So we're going to change the font for this label, and when I went to search different fonts that they have that is going to be more girly and colorful and fun, one that came up was going to be Tan Pearl. Now you can easily go and search like in, on the internet, or you can go into ChatGPT and ask it to give you fonts that are going to be more girly and fun, give you fonts that are going to be bold and luxurious, give you fonts that are bold and sexy. It's going to give you fonts that are going to emulate that so that you can choose which ones you like the most. Now, when I went to go search on this, I saw that Tan Pearl was a really good one, and I think that shows really great on this label. But then another one that I saw that I want to try here as well is going to be Playfair. Now Playfair, they have different bold, like thin lettering. So when you click on Playfair display, you're going to type that in, and when you click on the little arrow, it's going to show you different like boldness that you can choose from. But I'm not too big of a fan of the boldness for the Playfair display. And what I like about being able to duplicate each page as you are making it is that you can see, like from the Tan Pearl to the display one, you can see which one you like better, which one kind of fits the label a little bit better. And you can easily choose from there instead of just fully making the label and then not really knowing what changes really developed it. So I really like the way that the Tan Pearl looks, so I'm just going to delete that one, and I'm going to keep moving forward with the Tan Pearl. Now I'm going to just enlarge the brand name a little bit. I'm going to bring it to 22, and I'm also going to want to add like more of a lift. So I'm going to duplicate this again so we can see how that looks differently. And I'm just going to click on shadow. Now when you click on shadow, you'll see it has offset, direction, blur, transparency, and you can toggle those to be how you want those so you can see what it looks like. I'm going to go with lift because I like the way that lift looks better than shadow per se. So you can also change the intensity on lift, and it gives you the option to be able to drag it along so that it's a little bit more bolder or a little bit not so intense, and it's going to be a little bit subtle. And I like the more subtle look for the way that the element is showing off the brand name. And there's other elements that you can choose from as well that are going to really help to elevate the way that the brand name looks. So you can definitely kind of play around with those, duplicate the pages, and see how each one looks differently on the label, and then go from there. So we're going to stick with the lift and just bring up the intensity just a little bit so that it looks like it's kind of popping off of the label. So I like the way that this is looking so far. So now we're going to get moved on to the product name. So now for the product name, so this is going to be a fruity face mask that we're making this label for. And we're just going to make this a little bit bigger because you want the name of the product to be a bit bigger or stand out a little bit more from the brand name. Like you want the brand name to be there, but you really want to show what the name of the product is, and you really want that to be highlighted very well. And we're going to change the font for this as well. You kind of want to stick to 2 or 3 different fonts so that it looks cohesive throughout the whole label, so that it just looks it makes a lot more sense, and it looks just more luxurious, more put together, more professional. And I'm just going to change over the font. And now if you click on the arrow of the font that you choose, it gives you like an extra light, a thin looking font. It gives you a more medium bold, semi bold, so it really changes the boldness, and you can kind of play around with that and see how you like the way the boldness comes across, or if you want more of a thinner look. I like the way that the light looks because it kind of gives off more fresh, gives more clean look in my opinion, and this is just going to look really good for this type of product. And I'm just going to enlarge that a little bit more so that it's not as it's not too small, it's not smaller than the brand name, but it's not too large as well, so it fits the label appropriately. And I'm going to have that at about 19 for the font size. And then you just kind of want to move it so that it aligns with the brand name and that it's not off-centered. And if you toggle it closer to the actual lettering, you can see that it's going to make it a lot easier for you to be able to line it up. And make sure you see that line in the middle so that you know that it actually is lined up to the names and everything works out there. Now I like the fruit. I think that it does make it pop out a little bit more, and it's just a nice bold way to add to the product to show that it is a fruit mask. So I'm just going to add that fruit into the middle. Now it's always great to just add in little elements because it shows what the product is, what the brand vibe is. This is going to be fruity, flirty, fun. So you really want to showcase that by adding in the fruit. It gives in that element, showing the more girly, fun, lighthearted side. Now next we're going to get into adding in a tagline for the product. Now adding in a nice tagline really just helps to showcase what the product is or what it does. And here I'm just going to type in Brighten plus hydrate with berries and botanicals. So it just showcases that this is a fruity face mask. It's going to also have botanicals. It's going to brighten and hydrate your skin. So we're just going to showcase that as the tagline, and you can always research more taglines, ask ChatGPT to brainstorm some taglines for your product, give it the product name, what the fragrance is, and ask it to help you create a tagline for the product, and it will definitely generate that. Ask it to give you like 5 or 10 options so you can really choose. Ask it to develop them a little bit more, just to really help you brainstorm and give you more ideas. Now, like I said, you want to be consistent with your fonts. So I'm going to change the font back to the monostrat, but I want to make it a medium bold so it stands out just a little bit, but it's not too bold and it's not too light, so you can be able to read that. And you just want to put that right underneath that fruit, and you want to put it right underneath the title name. And I'm just going to duplicate the page again so you can see the difference between the way that looks when it's bold. And I'm also going to go back to the label name for the product, and I want to add in the shadow aspect as an element to kind of help it lift off the page a little bit. And I'm going to change the offset to 59, and I'm also just going to kind of mess around with the direction of the shadow, because I don't want it to look too weird where it just looks like it's bold. I just want it to look like it's lifting off the page just a little bit. And you can add in a little bit of transparency at 29 to help it lift off the page a little bit more, and for it to not look so obvious that it's lifted or that it has the shadow behind it. It just adds in a little bit of a lift, a little bit of a shadow, and you can see the difference. I think that boldness really makes it look more high end, makes it just look a lot more beautiful, so you can see that difference. That's why I like to duplicate, so you can see what you're working with and how your changes are being affected on the label. Now next we're going to get into the bottom part of the label where we showcase what the size is, if it's organic or whatever have you that you want to showcase for the product. So we're going to add that at that point. Now I'm going to take the little dividers that it has in white, and I'm just going to change it so that it's vertical instead of horizontal, and then I'm going to move those text boxes to be right in the middle of each other, and then I'm going to duplicate the line so that the lines are going to be right in between the text boxes. And then from there I'm going to move over the text boxes so that they are aligned with each other and that they're the same size. And you just want to keep moving them around because you want to make sure that they are kind of tidy together. And I'm going to share with you how you can also use the Canva to tidy it up a lot better. And I'm just going to highlight them all together, and I'm going to lift them up a little bit more so that they're within the lines like we need them to be. Now, before we tidy up everything on the right, I'm going to move on to the left side. I'm going to make that box a bit smaller. I'm also going to lock the box into this position because I want it to stay right here, and I don't want it to move. You can see if I try to touch anything, that box is not going to be moving. It's going to stay put in this section, so that now I can highlight all of the text boxes that are here, and I'm going to enlarge everything all at once and just make it a bigger size. And from here, now I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer, and then we're going to just delete the address, and we're just going to keep the web address for the business so that they'll be able to see the website. And then moving on to where it says directions, I'm just going to highlight that, and I want to change that to how to use, so that you can put how to use the product there in detail, how much to use, and it just makes it a lot easier for directions there. Now I don't like the tag on there. I don't think it really needs a barcode, so we're just going to remove that, and we're going to add in a QR code. Now, a really cool feature that Canva has is that you can generate a QR code on the app automatically. So you just type in QR code in Elements, and then it allows you to paste your URL into this section, and then you click generate code, and it will automatically populate into your workstation that you have already set up. And so I'm just going to make the QR code smaller. I'm going to put it in that little corner there, and I'm just going to zoom in a little bit so you can see, but I'm just going to put it in this corner. Now what's also really nice is that you can customize the QR code as well. So when you click on the arrow to customize, you can change the background color, you can change the color of the QR code itself so it can be more on brand. Now you can just type in the number of the color that you want to put there, and it will automatically regenerate so that it shows the colors that you want it to. And then it will also change the margins if you want the QR code to look a lot larger, if you want it to look smaller. You can change all of that information there as well. So now also under QR code and elements, they also have like a scan me element that you can add as well. You'll just put the QR code in the middle so you can see scan me, and then when they purchase it, they can just scan it from the label. So I like that better than like having the website, because no one's gonna sit there and type in the whole website, or show their friends and then we're gonna go and type it. They're gonna scan a QR code, something that people are used to doing now. So adding that in as an element on the website is a good idea if you want to put the website on there. Now I'm gonna duplicate that again and show you. I'm just gonna change it back to black because you can't really see that brand color that I changed it to. So I'm just gonna change it back to black, and I'm going to make it smaller again, and then add in that scan me element there again as well. Now what's really nice is that you can take those two elements and highlight them and then group them together so that they will move together as one from here on out, so that you don't have to worry about it every time you're trying to change anything, that the boxes are going to be different sizes. It'll all just generate to be the same size. And then for the scan me part of the element, I'm just going to change the color of that. You can click on the color, you can change it to whatever color you want that to be. I want it to match the rest of the colors and the words on the label, so I'm just going to change that to the white, or just change it to like that off light pink color. Now going back to the main part of the label, I want to change the sizing of where it says 100% organic. So I'm just going to change the size to 4.6, and then I'm also going to change the lineup of it so that it's not like off-centered and that everything is just all one word if it's supposed to be. And then I'm just going to change the weight and just show you that you can just change the weight of the product, the net weight, and have that in grams or in ounces. And you just want to change the font so that it's going to be the same size overall. And then you want to line them up a little bit more along with the dividers and just for the elements themselves for the text box. Then we're going to go ahead and highlight, and you want to group them all together so that they stay as one element. It just makes it a lot easier to work with, and you're going to lock those in together. Now I want to go ahead and tidy this up a little bit more. So when you want to go highlight it, you are going to click on space evenly, and where it says tidy up, you want to click on that. And it's, if you don't know if you noticed, but it automatically tidied it up so where it's all lined up perfectly. Everything's lined up. There's a right amount of distance between everything, and that's really what you want. And then you want to group it so that it can move as one unit, and you don't have to worry about changing the size or anything messing up in that sense. And then you want to line it up with the rest of the words on the label, and you want to make sure that you see that dotted line in the center to show you that this is going to be centered with the rest of the words. Then I'm going to highlight the name, the product name and everything, and I want to bring that down a little bit further so that it's going to be more in the center, and bring it over just a little bit. And then I'm just going to make sure that the bottom elements are also lined up properly. And again, you want to make sure that you're seeing those lines show up on the label so that you know that it is fully lined up. I know for me, like I have printed out a label before where it wasn't lined up properly, and it just looks so odd because you can just see how different it looks. You can see that it's not lined up properly. So you just want to make sure that you are actually using the features on Canva to make sure that everything is lined up the way that you want it to be, and that there's enough distance in between and there's no weird awkward spaces. And I'm just making sure that everything is lined up appropriately and that it just all makes sense and there's no awkward spaces. That's just really what you want to avoid. Now, what's also really great in Canva is that if you go into the file portion and then you go into settings, there's going to be a ruler and guides button. You want to click on that within settings, and it's going to automatically put in a ruler and margins on the screen so that you can see it all lined up. You can see to make sure that everything is like within the line so that when it prints that it's not cut off, and it just allows for you to see that it is the size that you want it to be and that the label makes sense and that everything is lined up properly. So when as you're creating, you can have those rulers and margins up to really make that helpful. Now this is where we started, you guys. This is the start of the label that I found on Canva, And this is the label that we were able to create with just a little bit of the features that they have, really adding in some more depth and more lifting and shadowing. With these easy, simple elements, you can really make the label look a lot more high-end, make it look more professional, a lot more put together, and it just doesn't take a lot to take a basic label that they have and really be able to make the label your own. Instead of having to make it from scratch, you can just start with a label that they already have and really make it your own and make it stand out a lot better than what you originally started with. Now, I want to say this to the end because what's really important when you are making your labels is to make sure that everything is within these purple lines, because these are going to be the bleed zones for when you are printing your actual label. So we're just going to move everything a little bit to the side and make sure that everything is within those purple lines. That's going to be really crucial when it comes to printing out your labels, whether it's on your own or having it done by a company, which I'll show you in a little bit here as well. But you just want to make sure everything is within those purple lines, and then you'll be fully complete with your label. And then from here, you just want to go ahead and download your label. Now, when you're downloading your label, you're just going to go into the share button, and then when you download, you are going to pick the PDF a standard option when you are downloading. Now, this is just going to make it a lot easier for you to be able to upload later. And since we have all these several options, you can delete the other labels that you created as long as you're satisfied with the end result. And then you want to save it as a file and make sure it's a PDF, and you're going to save, and then we're going to go over to Avery. Now, I use Avery a lot when it comes to printing my labels because I think they do a fantastic job. They make it a lot easier, and it's going to be really cost effective as well than other label companies that I see that print your designs. So we're just going to go into the sizing for the label, and then you're going to go into shop by shape. And then we're going to click on the blank rectangle, and they have different sizes depending on what you're purchasing. But we're going to have the rectangle option, and then you're going to go into the height and width, and you're just going to add in that information, and you're going to click on the label that you have. Now, you can purchase the labels yourself and then print them at home, but I'm going to click on print for me so that they can print it. And once you do that, then it's going to give you the option for the corners if you want them to be rounded or if you want to be sculpted. You're going to go to size, and it's going to make you type that in again. You're going to click the label that you want. And then what's really important is going to be your materials. They give you a lot of material options, but you want to make sure that it is water resistant, oil resistant. And so you're going to click on the material details. And so you can see if you look at this matte one that it's not going to be fade resistant. It's not going to be waterproof. So if you scroll down, you are going to see an option that's going to say glossy white film PET. You want to click on that. Now, as you can see, it's water resistant, waterproof, oil resistant, fade resistant. It's also freezer safe, microwave safe. This is going to be tear resistant. It's going to have a permanent adhesive. These are really great, important qualities that you want for a label for your skincare products that are going to be oil based. It's just going to have water products, so you want to choose the right material. And when you are buying your labels, now they do have a 2-sheet minimum, but this is really great if you're just going to be starting off making a small amount of your product. This works out great. You only make 8 products, you have 8 labels. Now, the more you buy, the cheaper it's going to be. For 8 labels, it's $2 each. Now, for if you were to have 40 labels, this is going to be $1.50 each. So ideally, if this product is selling really well, then you're going to want to be able to buy more labels. But just to start off, paying $16 for 8 labels really isn't too bad. Now, you have the option to create or upload. We're going to upload the design that we've already created. And it's just going to ask you what orientation you want the image to be. We're just going to select this first one here, and when you do that, it's going to automatically take you to upload your file. You just want to choose your file. And then when you choose your file, you're going to add the one that you just downloaded. And it's going to generate, and it may be a little bit blurry when you first see it here, but I assure you that when you print it, it's not going to be. So as you can see, the whole image is within the full lines of the label on the design for Avery. You want to make sure that nothing is cut off, that you can see everything that you've created and nothing is cut off, because when it prints and when you get it and it's not in the margins and it's not within these red dotted lines, when you go to take that label off, it's going to be cut off, and you're not going to be very happy after spending spending the money to get these labels printed. So please make sure that everything is within the red lines so that when you print it, everything prints the way that you originally had it. So now you have your labels complete. You can see it all on one page. Make sure that everything looks right and you approve. Make sure everything is spelled correctly. Approve it. Save the project so that next time you want to buy more, it's already saved and all you have to do is purchase more. And now you have all your labels created and ordered. I hope you enjoyed this video and I'll catch you in the next one.